What is up, y'all? This is episode 26 of Two Jersey Kids. I am your host this evening. Alongside me, or well, not alongside me, just looking at me longingly through this little picture that is Skype, is the best stick handler in the business, my best friend, Gary Sysol. How you doing today,
What's
Gary?
Up? Doing great. I actually just said to you before this actually began that I wanted to do this podcast outside because it's such a beautiful day here in scenic South Jersey, but unfortunately that would have been terrible for all the it would have been terrible for all the audio or for all the listeners for the audio there, because it would have been this background noise of lawnmowers and planes and shit.
I don't want to get into the weather too much around here because I'm in Maryland right now. You're in Jersey. It's fucking weird. The fact that February it's 70 degrees. I don't like that. I like having some cold. I like the winter. I am a fan of a slight snowfall, maybe because I don't have to shovel it quite yet because I don't have a house of my own, or drive in it as much. But I do love me some snow, and I don't like it being 70 degrees in February. It's not right.
I don't mind the cold. Oh, I don't mind the cold at all, but I do like a few really nice days mixed in occasionally. And right now, I mean, I walk outside and I feel like it's May. It's awesome. I just step outside, shorts, t-shirt.
It fucks with my system when it goes from 40 degrees to 70. I'm like, oh God, I don't know what's going on. I get like headaches. It's weird.
It can throw you off.
Well,
but anyway,
this is Two Jersey Kids. If you guys didn't know, this is a video game podcast. We release 2 episodes each week, one on Tuesday, and this one, shockingly, because it comes out on Friday, is the Friday episode where we break down the news that has been going on the past week and give you our genius, I guess you could say. I didn't say it. They're your words. You said it. We're genius. I know. Opinions when it comes to this stuff. We're not insiders. We just give our outside opinions because we're dicks like that. But, yeah. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at 2JerseyKids, and if you're a new listener and you like what you hear so far in this 2-minute interval, because we're crazy, you hit that subscribe button, and then also rate us on iTunes and give us 5 stars. Say this is the best 2 minutes of your life so far. Oh, we'll try to make it up throughout the podcast. But, Gary, before we get into everything, what have you been up to this week?
Well, it's actually been pretty awesome. I got my college diploma from Rutgers yesterday.
If I had the ability, I would interplay like the cheers in like Halo 2 or Halo 3 when the grunts get their head exploded. Yay! But I can't.
There you go.
I don't have that type of skill.
Well, unfortunately, in due time we will, when we get really huge and we have tons of money and can buy special effects equipment,
have audio engineers to hire. Yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I got my diploma. That was awesome. It's a different feeling. I feel like when you graduate and everything, you get done, but then when you actually hold that diploma in your hand and see your degree, it's pretty cool. All that's left now is the actual ceremony, which happens in May, which frankly I wouldn't even attend, but it's a family thing.
Wait, they don't have a separate winter ceremony? Because I know
in
Maryland they do.
Yeah, they don't. We all graduate together. It is weird.
They say, fuck you, you gotta wait. We don't want to pay for an extra ceremony. We want you to come in May when we're doing it all together. You know, it's like a discount price for us, all inclusive, you know.
Well, dude, I honestly wish it was in the winter, because in spring or summer, you can get really hot and you're in that gown, and it's...
The gown gives you a nice breeze, let me tell you.
I'm sure it does, but regardless.
Get a nice breeze up in there. Well, actually, you're not naked underneath, so you don't really get a breeze up there. But if you're wearing comfortable, like, dress clothes underneath, you're set.
Well, good to know. Good to know. But yeah,
Tips.
that's all. That's all that's been really happening with me. Gaming, you know the deal. Destiny,
Battlefield, Destiny,
everything else.
Blah blah blah. I'm a bro shooter. Bang bang bang.
There he goes. The insults starting already. But yeah. So, what are you doing here? Since you're such an interesting man here, what's happening?
What has been happening? Wednesday, I went to the Maryland Terrapin game. The fucking basketball team is shit in the bed is all I have to say. They're frustrating me. Lost the last 3, but this is a video game podcast, so I'm not going to get into it. But it's maddening. It's maddening. But other than that, in video game front, I've been playing this game called Neo still. Been really enjoying it. Been really loving it. I finally beat that 3rd boss. I figured out what I need to do, and I kicked the shit out of her. Figured it out. You know the vampire bat lady? Where she was... Yeah, I was telling you, she'd spin all around and, like, thrust at me with her, like, speeding, like, bullet-type move. I don't know what it was. It scared me.
Yeah, I heard you actually said I think our last episode that it required the timing. The timing was the key.
Yeah, I figured out the timing for everything. I figured out the proper weapon that I needed to use for it. And I finally kicked their ass. And then I beat 2 more bosses since then, which is pretty sick. I'm pretty happy about it. I fought this lightning chimera thing that was like shooting lightning and poison at me, and then I beat like this possessed samurai. It was pretty cool. I've been on my way. I've been liking it. It's very Dark Souls-y. The difference between this and Dark Souls is that this has a very, it seems like, choppy world where you have like a hub world and you jump from world to world where they're not as large and expansive as is Dark Souls. Dark Souls would be, where it seems like in Dark Souls a lot of the worlds are connected and intertwined, and they have a lot of campfires, they're called, so like checkpoints, I guess you could say. However, in Neo there's only like 2 or 3 of these prayer areas where would be your checkpoint in that mission. Sometimes there's only 1. Actually, well, no, I found 2 in that instance, but I mean, it's a smaller, condensed version of like the Dark Souls world, which I've been enjoying, and I like. It's definitely like Dark Souls, where if you screw up in fighting, you're effed. You're going to get destroyed because every enemy hits hard no matter what. I've been seeing a variety of new enemies. That's what I like about you gradually introduce you to different enemy types and who you're going to be facing. Originally, your like first enemy is just generic humans, which you are easy to chop through. Then they start introducing demons like at a slower pace, and then more and more they become more demon-like. And then you get like these gigantic cyclops. Like I like the differing enemies types, and the bosses right now I feel like are designed well. I've been really enjoying Neo so far. If you can't tell, I'm gushing over it, and I'm not entirely sure what the story is. I think the story. It's actually more straightforward than Dark Souls. Dark Souls story are very ambiguous, they don't tell you exactly what is happening. Same with Dark Souls and Bloodborne. No clue what exactly is happening because I'm not paying attention too much to that. Maybe if I took notes and wrote everything down, maybe I would figure it out. I don't know. That's very obtuse, I think, with the storytelling in those games. This is more straightforward. Some evil dude stole your guardian spirit, and you're going after him. That's the straightforward story. There's things in between, but it's an easy through line to follow. So that's what I've been playing. I've been really enjoying it. I've been really liking it a lot. I like it a lot.
I never would have guessed.
Oh, well, I like it a lot if you didn't know. Well, that's me for this week. Gary, this is where the time we go to This Week in Gaming. And this is your segment,
indeed.
And you remembered. Good for you.
Yeah, you know it. So This Week in Gaming, this is thanks to Moby Games, by the way, for providing this list for me, as always.
This Week in Gaming. Blah, 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 blah.
Brought to you by Gatorade.
Brought to you by Gatorade.
First up.
Never not be funny for us. For you out there listening, you're probably like, shut the fuck up about this Gatorade.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Anyway, first up, Far Cry Primal Collector's Edition came out on PlayStation 3, I think, actually PS3, PC, and Xbox One in 2016. Oh, God, that was
bringing
weird.
it back to 2016. So
Yeah.
long ago.
That was the first thing I saw, so bear with me, it gets better. Next up, we have Heavy Rain, was released in 2010. Now, this game I
loved
played.
this game. I remember you say you loved it so much.
I really enjoyed this game. The only bad thing is that if you beat it right the first time, there's really, in my personal opinion, no incentive to actually go back and play it because
Gary is such a great player. He beat it right the first time.
Well, I luckily did because, well, I'm not going to go too far into the game itself, but yeah, I beat it right the first time. But the problem is that if you want to go back and do it again, it's kind of like,
well, now you're purposely messing up.
Exactly, and you're watching like characters die and people you care about die. I don't want that. I don't want to see that. It's depressing.
It makes more sense if you don't do it right the first time. You want to actually get it right, so that's why you would play through. But if you do it perfectly the first time, I feel like you should get like an achievement for that. That's pretty impressive. I remember you brought it over specifically to my house to just watch me play to see how I reacted. I remember there's one moment where you're playing a police officer and you're trying to capture a guy. and he like pulls across on you, and like, at that moment you could decide whether to shoot him or not if he's going to pull out a gun. And I did actually pull the trigger, but for some reason it didn't register. And he's like, oh, and you say, oh wow, I'm shocked you didn't shoot him. I was like, well, I kind of actually did, but it just didn't. It just didn't work. So
the one scene actually, before I move into the other games, but the one scene I actually remember from that game specifically is there's a scene where your main character is put through several tests by this deranged serial killer. Basically, the serial killer abducted your son, and you're trying to go find him. So this serial killer is leaving behind these tests for you to complete, and basically one of them is if you cut off one of your fingers, you basically get a clue as to where your son is. At least that's how I remember it. But you actually watch this guy, if you actually go through with it, cut off his finger, and it's very
brutal.
Yeah, pretty terrible to watch. It's awful, and I actually
did
did that.
The noises and everything.
It's horrendous. But anyway, moving on to NBA In the Zone 2000, released on Nintendo 64 back in the year. Guess what? 2000.
Shocker.
It's more of a shout out to you, Adam. I know you're a big fan of the basketball games. Not sure if you played this one though.
Nope.
But all right. Well, then moving on to the last thing, Killzone 3. I know you played this. Released back in 2011 this week. I actually played Killzone 2.
And then I played Killzone 3, and I enjoyed Killzone 3. But you ranted and raved about how much you love Killzone 2, so I was like, all right, I'll give Killzone 3 a chance. To see if Gary would play, because you would say all the time, oh, I played Killzone 2 so much. Did he like Killzone 3, folks? No, he fucking didn't, so I had no one to fucking play with.
Well, it's one of those weird games where Killzone 2 was awesome, but then I just like never really had any like motivation to get Killzone 3. Like it was a weird thing. Like I just never got
Shadowfall, which I feel like that was better than Killzone 3. I've been hearing I hear people that played all of them that Killzone Shadowfall was actually the best Killzone game out there.
Well, there you have it.
You missed
actually
out.
Killzone 2 is actually one of the reasons I ended up buying my PlayStation 3 in the first place, because
Really?
I heard when I went to buy it, they said like, oh yeah, it didn't release with a lot of great games, but you're an idiot. They're like, yeah, there's not a lot of tremendous games right now on the PlayStation 3, but in due time there will be. So lo and behold.
Fun fact,
but anyway,
no one out there knows the people that developed all the Killzone games. Guerrilla Games is developing Horizon, which I'm pumped about. It's coming out next week. Are you excited, Gary?
Actually, yes, indeed, I am.
I'm so pumped. We can party chat and discuss what we like about it. Oh my god.
Maybe I'm not going to buy it.
Exciting.
But anyway, that is it for this week in gaming, brought to you by Gatorade. If you want to move on into our actual news.
We'll move on into the news now. Yay! Starting it off, there has been a update or DLC pack or whatever you want to call it for Titanfall 2. There is going to be released today, actually, a new game mode called Live Fire, where they write in a blog post, quote, in our next content drop, they say coming soon, but it's coming today, we'll be introducing a brand new mode called Live Fire, a lightning-fast 6v6 pilot-only mode that brings competitive close-quarters combat to the forefront. A round-based best of 5 with no respawns. We will have 1 minute to eliminate the opposing team in order to win the round. You can also win the round if your team is holding the neutral flag when the round timer ends. It's fast, frantic, and sure to help hone those teamwork and mobility skills. We're also introducing 2 brand new maps designing specifically for Live Fire, Stacks and Meadow. Playable only in the Live Fire playlist, these 2 maps are tight, enclosed death boxes designed specifically for fast-paced, intense nature of the mode, end quote. And there's also going to be double XP starting today all the way up to February 27th. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot, hop back in since it's free, download it. Unfortunately, there's not too large of a player base. I was actually talking with one of our the 2 Jersey kids out there, Nikita, who's a fan. He loves it. He loves Titanfall. He's actually been alternating between Rainbow Six Siege and Titanfall 2. That's when I started talking to you about Rainbow Six before the podcast. I think I mentioned that. But he's excited to get back into it. I actually told him to DM me, give him his PSN ID, so I got his ID, friended him, and maybe I'll play with him over the weekend because I'm going to be free, so I'll have somebody to play with for Titanfall 2 because that was my main issue when it comes to online shooters. When you don't have anyone to play with in these games, I never feel obligated to keep playing online because I don't feel the need to, because for what I was actually telling him, because we were interacting on through Twitter is that for me personally, if I want to play a game by myself alone, I want to play a single player game, because that's actually tailored to the online experience, or single player experience, the by yourself experience, instead of online game mode. Because I don't know, I just don't find it fun when I'm just the only one playing online and I don't know anybody in the party. That's what I find most exciting or most fun about the online shooters, is interacting with your friends while they're playing it. That's why I liked COD games online. That's why I liked some of the Battlefield games when I played with friends. That's why I liked Halo 3, Halo 2 specifically. Well, actually Halo 3 specifically. That's why I like those online shooters, because I can interact with people that I know, and we can complain or get excited about whatever's going on in that map, in that mode. Whereas Titanfall 2, no one was playing it that I knew. No one's playing it. Barely any had that much right now, at least the game mode that I want to play, which is pilot versus pilot, which makes me excited for this live fire mode, where it is pilot versus pilot, but it is a quick 1 minute match, which seems rather very, very quick. 1 minute instead of, I don't know, 2 or 3 seems more likely. But what are your thoughts, Gary? You're raising your hand.
I've actually never played this game before, but I'm a huge fan of these these intense, short rounds like this, because I mean, yeah, playing Destiny, I played a lot of Trials of Osiris. That's the only game that I play anymore in that game, and it's because of the intensity and the teamwork involved in that specific game mode. Ever since that ever since Destiny, I haven't been able to find another game that even came close to that type of heart pounding, literal heart pounding action. Even Battlefield, like you said before, I can't play that game by myself because I don't have I just don't have as much fun by myself. You can't really do anything by yourself or accomplish a greater mission. Yeah. And but not only that though, Battlefield 1, I love the game and I have so much fun in it, but the intensity just isn't the same. There's intense moments, but a lot of the time I feel like it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just different feel to the game.
That's fair.
But Titanfall looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot. The 1 minute round sort of is weird being that short, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll play it over the weekend. Maybe with Nikita if he's playing. I don't know. It'll be fun. Moving on. God of War 4 release date hinted at by major retailer Simon Sayers over at the PlayStation Universe website. A God of War 4 release date has yet to be officially announced, though. Amazon has listed Sony's godly PS4 exclusive on its site for pre-order. Retailers are prone to putting up game pages with placeholders for release dates, so take this with one huge pinch of salt, but Amazon lists God of War as being available on December 29th, 2017. A 2017 release date does tie in with what was tweeted from the official PlayStation Germany account earlier this year when they ran a poll for PlayStation 4 players' most anticipated game of 2017, Included in the poll were God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Red Dead Redemption 2. If God of War 4 is set for a 2017 release, it's very likely it will be in the latter part of the year with a big E3 2017 showing to get fans excited. Honestly, if it is planning on trying to release at that time, I think it's a placeholder because most of the time they choose the end of the year. The last quarter is what they'll shoot for. But I really feel like this game is a 2018 game, early 2018 game, which Sony has been a huge proponent of now with Horizon and Gravity Rush 2 and Neo. They're pushing everything to the first quarter of the following year, around February, March time. So I feel like this is definitely a 2018 game. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That just seems likely. I don't know. Moving on. It's not really a news article, but over at IGN they actually had 3 hours to sit down and play Mass Effect Andromeda, so they gave the impression. Gary, you went through this article. What did you find that was kind of interesting for you? Actually, we both did, but I'm going to you first because it's a podcast with two hosts, so I figured I'll throw it to you first, because I'm doing the hosting thing.
What a great guy.
I am a good guy.
So nice to be involved. Anyway, so yeah, basically in this impressions article, this guy went through and played the game, and he divided, I guess, his impressions into several different categories. So he had customization. And I think he had class.
It's a girl. It's a female that wrote this article, Gary. It's not a he.
All right, fine. Okay, she went through and basically divided her impressions into several different categories. So some of the things that I took out of the article were that she was talking about how The customization of the characters is a lot better than in recent Mass Effect games. She said that this is something that you can probably spend hours in, which is intriguing to me. I kind of like customizing my character. It's just something I've always enjoyed doing. The only thing, though, what's up?
No, I was going to say is that I remember seeing in the article that it makes sense in this universe that Shepard wouldn't be that type of person where they have funky hair and all different like looks with like their beard or I don't know, their outfits that they would be wearing, where in this more these characters are not set in stone as like a certain commander.
And they aren't military either.
Yeah, exactly.
But one thing that was interesting, though, she said she was a little concerned about how, in the game anyway, the player models have a tendency to sometimes look cartoonish. So even like the lips, for example. So like Ryder will be speaking, and it just looks – it doesn't look like a game that's going to be released – or a game that I guess should be released in 2017. Like it just kind of looks maybe like a little last gen, which is a little concerning. But I mean, for me, I'm not someone that's going to have like my immersion kind of broken just by a little like graphic thing. It's not a big deal to me, but for some, I'm sure it'll be a problem. Moving on to, I really like the class system, how they're doing it this time around. It's not so much like a strict class system where you're choosing like engineer, soldier. And let's be honest, I mean, I don't remember ever choosing anything besides a soldier in Mass Effect or the original Mass Effect games. I like the fact that they're now, as she puts it, it's kind of like a flexible guideline in terms of class. So you can, depending on what you choose, it may increase your health a little bit, or some other attribute that is useful for you. Maybe you unlock something that instead of just like blowing through enemies with an assault rifle, you can like destroy them in a certain in a different way instead. So I kind of like that flexibility and the ability to make a character what you want it to be instead of just like a specific class. So and then finally, I know we've talked about this before in the previous episodes. I like the fact that they're going to a new dialogue system. So instead of having that morality meter where you're either good or evil or renegade or paragon, you're now going to be able to just kind of you're forced basically to read the conversation, actually make a decision, look at the decisions, and then basically it determines your personality instead of just you're good, you're evil, instead of black and white. So
Alana Pierce from this article writes, quote, Andromeda keeps track of these narrative statistics, too, contributing to shaping your character's overall quote-unquote personality, rather than just whether you were a jerk 10 times or not. It's a creative evolution of a core mechanic, and she's interested in figuring out what different versions of Ryder are out there, if that's possible. So, yeah, that's what I think you're going off of, right, Gary?
Exactly, and I really like that. I just think that it's better. I think it's more realistic, because in reality, I mean, there's very few people in the world that are really truly evil or truly like perfect or great. So I think it's more realistic in terms of that. So anything that you picked out of this article that you found interesting?
You picked out a lot of things. One thing that I did notice is that there were enormous she writes, quote, did have some pretty enormous performance issues in its pre-release state. There were frequent visual glitches, including jarring frame rate drops, audio dropped out a few times, and there were two separate instances where I was unable to progress because a line of dialogue that was supposed to be said never was. So I was forced to reload my save. The newly automated cover system was a little finicky with my character popping in and out even when I didn't want them to. And sometimes I wasn't able to use my jetpack to jump because I had clipped on cover, end quote. And I just thought that was interesting that this game is supposed to release, end of March, I believe?
True.
And it's really... They're getting down to the wire of fixing these issues in the game. I know it's a pre-release state. Maybe they've fixed things since they did this coverage this week. Maybe
Day one patch.
Yeah, they may be going gold now or going through cert at this moment, and then going to work on the day one patch, which is going to be, who knows, like 50 gigabytes day one patch, which seems like it's going in that direction with all these games. So it's just weird that they're still working on these bugs, these issues, these frame rate dropouts, the clipping. Maybe that's the reason they had to push it back farther. Yeah, what you're saying, Gary?
It's interesting that, is it me or is just this Mass Effect game kind of just seemed to be flying under the radar? Like before, I feel like the Mass Effect 2 game, like Mass Effect 2 and especially Mass Effect 3 were just like such high profile games. I guess it was just because, like the original Mass Effect, it established such a great game, and then obviously the sequels were like highly anticipated, but this one I just feel like it's just so kind of, I don't know where it is. Like I hope it's good, and I think it will be, but it's just in a different type of like. It's just hard to explain, you know?
Do you think they just haven't done enough with hyping up this game for people?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a new character and not like. I mean, if it was like Commander Shepard coming back, I think that the response would be different because I think with these new characters, it's like a new story, and there's not a lot for people to be like, oh, I can't wait to see this, or it's kind of a new experience. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's not a lot of. It doesn't feel like too many people are that pumped about it. Not many people are talking about Mass Effect. I mean, maybe after Horizon Zero Dawn cycle goes through, which I've been still hearing fantastic freaking things from Horizon Zero Dawn. Let me tell you, I'm excited for that game. Maybe
perhaps a little too excited.
Maybe once that is complete, maybe people get back into the mode of Mass Effect being excited for a sci-fi RPG style action RPG, I guess you could say. But
I can't wait. I'm serious. I cannot wait to just get a single player game again, especially like Horizon, Mass Effect. I just cannot wait to sit back and play a single player RPG game. I've been waiting for it forever, and while The Witcher was was great. I know it was great in a lot of ways. It just wasn't my style of game, and it pisses me off. And I want to give it a chance again, but I just can't do it, guys. I can't.
Alison Lodato is sitting listening to this podcast right now, just hitting her forehead like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?" Yeah,
it's terrible. I don't know what it is about. It's not. I'm telling you, like I gave that game a chance, man. Like I put like 2 days of game time
now, and for some reason it still doesn't click with me. We're like the only 2 people, I guess, that feels this way.
It's crazy. I actually looked online just to make sure I wasn't crazy. There are people that feel like us.
Okay,
it's
good.
Just,
we're not the only 2 just sitting alone on this small little island.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've given it a chance. I put like 30 hours into the game because the game is so fucking huge, and I just, at a certain point, I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. Something came along that piqued my fancy, and I was like, I don't want to go back to it.
Really unfortunate. I know. Yeah. I feel terrible about it.
Because that game fucked with my OCD, let me tell you. When I finished a quest, and then 3 other exclamation points pop up after I finish it, I'm like, oh my god, I can't complete all these side quests. This is insane. Yeah,
it's kind of how I felt too. Overwhelmed would be the perfect word.
I hope when they make their Cyberpunk 2077, they actually tone down the side quests a little bit.
Yeah, I never thought I'd actually say that, but I agree.
I know. But that's what I'm hearing with Horizon, and actually there's a solid or a decent amount of side quests, not just like a fucking crazy amount. So moving on to, you put this article in here. Alooth Champions of the Four Kingdoms announced for PC and console. Joe Screbbles over to IGN writes, Gamera Games has announced Alooth Champions of the Four Kingdoms, an isometric action RPG in development for PC and consoles, scheduled for a 2018 release and being created in conjunction with RPG legend Chris Evelyn. Described as a cross between Dark Souls and Amiga cult classic Moonstone and Hard Day's Night, Alof will be broadly divided into 2 gameplay phases. Movement across the game's overworld and turn-based, with players visiting points of interest to upgrade their characters, buy mounts, or visit the ruling families of the game's 4 kingdoms to be given new quests or learn about the world's political makeup. On a first playthrough, players will choose from one of the 4 races and have to ally themselves with an existing house, each with an existing history and tie to one of the kingdoms. After one full completion, however, players will be able to create their own house with customizable banners, mottos, and more. Enter a fight, however, and the game becomes an isometric action game drawing on the looks of a classic RPG such as Baldur's Gate, but utilizing a more immediate combat system. Quote, saying a game is Souls-like is fashionable today, explains Gamera CEO Alberta Belli to IGN, and it can have too many different meanings. Our goal was simple, to create a totally skill-driven combat system bringing 3D mechanics to a new isometric perspective, something completely new for the genre, end quote. Belli explains that the game's features intricate combo system, gory finishes, and multiple build styles, offering classes, equipment, skills, and magic that will fundamentally alter how you play. Gamera also plans to add full local and online multiplayer. While those elements are still in the early stages, Belli promises up to 4-player games, as well as PvP functions in an arena setting. The emphasis is very much on replayability aside from adding customization and the ability to try new things on each run. Different areas of the overall world will unlock depending on how you play. There are multiple AI companions to meet and recruit, and characters can be imported from previous playthroughs to further their skills. You want to say, Gary, something?
Oh, no, I mean, continue, who won? I was going to say...
you're massaging your hand. I thought you were raising your hand to say something. Oh, Jesus, Gary. Always getting in the way. Quote, there is not a real main quest, explains Belly, but a dynamic world changing for each run due to world politics. The things you do, the background you have, it's virtually infinite, end quote. He brings up the feeling of starting and restarting a game of Mount and Blade. The concept reminds me more of a promise of a board game with set rules but hundreds of variabilities. The idea appears... to offer a combat system modern players will immediately understand and gel with, but set within a truly old school setting, allowing for the story complexity. Parentheses, Game of Thrones is a constant touchstone for Belly. And parentheses, and an open-ended nature of classic RPG. Do I want to keep reading? Yeah.
No, I think we hit the nail on the head there.
Hit the nail on the head. You put this on here. What excites you about this game? Why'd you want to highlight this?
Well, I saw it today. I went on IGN and I was just looking for potential, news stories to talk about. And the first thing that caught my mind was Chris Avellone. I recognized that name, and he's, of course, was one of the creators of KOTOR 2. So I had to bring it back somehow. I had to annoy everybody by once again bringing up Knights of the Old Republic. But
he's also apparently the director / designer on Planescape Torment and Fallout 2.
Yeah, quite the resume. But this game looks pretty cool, though. If you go on IGN, you can actually look at a slideshow of screenshots, and the game just looks pretty awesome. I like the way, obviously the description of the game sounds cool. I like the idea of, having to ally with like a certain kingdom and then being able to create your own. I think that's really cool.
And it sounds like based on your playthroughs that differing things happen each playthrough based on what you did in the previous playthrough, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. And not to mention, I know you're a big fan of the art style, Adam, but I actually really like the way this game looks, especially, well...
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Yeah, thanks. That's brilliant. But yeah, this game looks awesome. I'm interested to see what becomes of this game, and it might be something I look into in the future. But yeah.
Moving on. Elder Scrolls Online expands in a big way with Morrowind. Gary, you put this article in here, and it's a long fucking article, which I don't want to read. You want to highlight some of these things? Since it seems like you read it expansively.
Well, I didn't really read too deep into it, but I just thought it was cool to something to talk about, considering we've been
shown as fraud, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, just kidding. We had played Elder Scrolls Online, of course, never together because we have terrible schedules, but.
No, the game you're always fucking busy playing Destiny and Battlefield 1 and Bro Shooters.
No. I have other things I'm doing. Thank you very much. I'm playing Battlefield. No. But this game looks. I really liked Elder Scrolls Online. It's really sucks because my hard drive space on my PS4. I had to delete it, which really sucks. But I want to get back on there again. Hopefully with the new PS4 update that allows external hard drives. But yeah, this game looks pretty cool, though. I like the fact they're going back to Morrowind. It's something I never personally got to explore back in the day because I was kind of too young to really get into the RPGs, that sort of thing at the time. So I just think it's kind of cool. They're bringing back something from the past, into the MMO universe, and people can kind of explore it again almost for the first time for some people. And obviously, for some of the older fans of the series, they can go back and kind of be nostalgic and play through that world again. So I just thought it was pretty cool.
Ditto. I can't say it really better than what was just said. Gary's the eloquent person with words. I am not. But well said, Gary. I concur. Moving on, Nintendo Switch to be available for launch day walk-ins at GameStop. That's exciting. Samit Secure over at Polygon writes, if you missed out on Nintendo Switch pre-orders, you'll have a chance to buy one on launch day. GameStop stores will have a, quote, limited supply, end quote, of consoles for walk-in customers. The company announced today, quote, customers who were not able to pre-order the system are encouraged to attend GameStop midnight launch events, end quote. GameStop said in a news release, the Nintendo Switch will be released worldwide on March 3rd, 9 days from today. Of course, considering how few NES Classic units Nintendo was able to ship to retailers at launch, most stores were getting allocations in the single digits, which is insane. The chances of picking up a Switch without a pre-order may be slim. GameStop also announced that it will sell 2 different Switch bundles on its website. As is usual the case with these kinds of upsell packages, neither bundle will offer a discount over buying the components separately. Bundle 1 is the Nintendo Switch with the Switch Pro controller and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, coming in at $429. Then you have Bundle 2, which is Bundle 1, which is what I just said, and then a guide for Breath of the Wild, which adds $30 to it. Yep.
So, can I just say something? Are they actually going to have how many consoles do they actually have in the store? Or is it just like a ploy basically to bring people into GameStop? Because it is GameStop here we're talking about.
I don't think they would lie about it. I feel like they would release later on how many stores were allocated. I don't trust Nintendo with giving out the necessary amount of consoles for their fan base. I don't trust them with the Wii or the NES Classic bullshit fiasco that happened, and still having trouble giving them to their fan base that want it. I mean, I don't trust them with having these consoles there to walk in and purchase it. That's why I'm just going to wait and watch and see what happens.
you know for a fact there's going to be like massive sellouts. But I like you, I actually do want to sit back and hear what people have to say about it, at least in the beginning. See if it actually lives up to the hype that has been surrounding this console.
Yeah, you and I have both been watching unboxings, and it looks very sleek, very minimalistic, very simplistic to put together. It comes in the basic tablet with the 2 Joy-Con controllers, or Joy-Con halves, and then the Joy-Con sliding portion, which is kind of frustrating that sliding controller doesn't have like a charge. It's not actually charging. It doesn't charge on that, which is kind of annoying. That it doesn't charge. I keep saying charge, and it's fucking annoying. Some of these things. But they also, when you look at the Joy-Con controller actually in somebody's actual hands, when they're just using the one, it looks freaking ridiculous. I don't think anybody will be comfortable playing on just the one Joy-Con controller. That just seems outrageous to me.
Yeah, I feel like carpal tunnel is guaranteed.
For sure. No old ladies or old men are going to be playing that. That's for sure. Moving on. Oh shit! I hate this. The website blocks like the title for some reason. So that's kind of strange. One Nintendo Switch launch title already requires extra storage. Adam Rosenberg over at Mashable writes, I figured I'd put in one, I guess, somewhat good article thing about Nintendo Switch and the one somewhat bad. Nintendo seemingly has one thing to say about our supposedly all-digital future. LOL. The upcoming Switch features a downright minuscule 32 gigabytes of built-in storage, and that number comes down even more once you account for the operating system and the basic apps. It's so small, in fact, that one console's launch titles in Japan won't actually fit. A newly updated listing of Switch games lays out storage requirements for each one, and from it, we learned that Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 is a 32 gigabyte game. It even says right there on the game's info page, translated from Japanese, a micro SD card of 32 gigabytes or more is required separately, end quote. The Switch does allow for expandable storage via its built-in micro SD card slot. The company revealed in a January interview with Kotaku that the console will support micro SDXC cards with up to 2 terabytes of storage capacity once they actually exist. Currently, SDXC standard cards max out at 512 gigabytes, and they're priced at around $200. The most affordable option is the 128 gigabytes, which can be found for $40. In other words, unless bigger cards release soon and at much cheaper price, downloadable Switch games aren't an attractive option. There is an alternative: buy box copies of the game. The Switch revives Nintendo's long-standing love affair with cartridge-based gaming on consoles. The company's handhelds continue to rely on game cartridges, but every Nintendo console since the GameCube has used discs. No longer. The Switch cartridges are roughly the same size as an SD card or a PlayStation Vita cartridge if you prefer. The main advantage they offer is no installation requirements. Slide a Switch cart into the right slot, and the game is good to go right away. It's really no different from slotting a cartridge into your old NES. So there's more to the article, but I felt like that was the main point. That it seems like Nintendo is still discounting the whole digital future. I guess they did take into account with the micro SD slot, but micro SD cards, like they're saying, the large ones that you would actually want to download all these games, like 2 terabytes, will be astronomical in prices, I believe.
So just to clarify, so this isn't like limiting the amount of so if you buy the cartridge, like the game cartridge, you don't have any problem with system storage there.
No, because the cartridge, you don't have to install anything when you go from a cartridge, rather an actual CD. Or you're doing installation based. The cartridge, it's all, I guess, through technology. So
yeah,
you don't need to install anything.
So basically, if you wanted to buy something digitally, that's where you run into the issues.
That's where you're going to run into the issues where the convenience of buying it digitally is not actually a convenience when you have to delete like one game off your Nintendo Switch that you already have.
God, I thought I had it bad on the PlayStation. Jesus.
32 gigabytes. Buy a $200 micro SD card, and then you'll have the same storage as a PlayStation.
Oh, my God.
Then the console becomes, what, $500? Which I guess matches up. Wasn't it the PS4? Was the PS4 $399? The PS4 was $399. Xbox One was $499. I remember when his first one was. Anyway, Nintendo Switch eShop will finally link purchases to accounts, not consoles. With the advent of the Switch, Nintendo is Jeffrey Maltuluf over at Eurogamer writes, with the advent of the Switch, Nintendo is finally altering its system for digital purchases, making it so software will be tied to one's account rather than console. Under the current system, all games are only linked to one specific piece of hardware. So if your Wii U or 3DS is lost, broken, or stolen, you'll actually have to phone Nintendo and beg them to let you reclaim any games on a replacement platform. And even then, you'll need to provide serial numbers for Nintendo to issue a transfer. But that's all set to change with the Switch. As discovered by Eagle Eye Twitter user Bourgeon the Switchy, there's a small disclaimer in YouTuber FloKO unboxing video that notes the following. Quote, your Nintendo account contains your Nintendo eShop purchase history and current balance. By relinking your Nintendo account after initializing the console, it will be possible to re-download any software or DLC purchased using that account. Parentheses, software that has been discounted may not be available to re-download in some case, end parentheses, end quote. So there you have it. Nintendo is finally joining the modern age of digital licenses. Yay! That's Switch I can get behind. So he put a little bonus on there, but it is great that Nintendo is finally getting into the the digital era where you actually can transfer licenses over based on your account, not the hardware. Because I've heard stories of people having to buy the original Mario or Mario 3 or Mario World constantly for the Wii and then their 3DS or the Wii U when it came out, which is insane.
Yeah, really stupid. And as Bum Champion here at the bottom writes, as someone who lost their Ambassador 3DS and all the NES classics, I got thank fuck for that. So he's pretty happy about it. But yeah, makes sense.
We're going to move on to your... Just to fuel your hatred of everything that is EA, Gary. We're going to fuel it right now. The Dead Space 3, the developers wanted to make Chris Bratt titles article over at Eurogamer. The third, and likely final, Dead Space game traded survival horror for action, a decision many fans found frustrating, it turns out. However, this was not the original pitch. This week, I've spoken with the game's creative director, Ben Waynat, Sure. About the team's original version for Dead Space 3 and how over time it was eroded by the business interests of Electronic Arts. Had this not been the case, we would have likely ended up with a game that delved deeper into Isaac Clarke's psychosis, featuring a co-op campaign that allowed players to experience this firsthand. Oh, and as you've guessed it, the microtransactions didn't come from the design team. There's a shocker. Then they link it. So I guess they go more details of what EA messed up, but that we can't really go into it. I don't know if you listened to it, Gary. I didn't have time to listen to it at work because I had to do that thing called work, so I can't really play this out loud while I'm working.
Well, I mean, I basically just wanted to include this article. It just shows you how much power that these like massive
Publishers.
companies have. Yeah, that these massive companies have over the gaming studios. Like, especially EA, because EA always I feel like EA is just the brunt of like everybody's anger and hatred, especially mine for the most part.
Do you feel like Activision is getting there?
Oh my God, yeah. Especially with how Destiny was handled and how it released and
the continuous stream of Call of Duty that they're gonna ram into our throats until they crash and burn.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I feel like everyone views of Activision now as just like one of these companies that they just churn out like money stealing games.
Yeah.
Like they're not even really. It isn't anything new. Although, hold on a second. Let's rewind. They have said, at least from what I hear, that the new Call of Duty game is going to go back to its roots. So now they're copying Battlefield 1 now. There we go. That's a marketing. That's a great job. That's a great tactic.
Yeah, like you mentioned, these publishers do have, since they are publishing the game, they are fronting the cash for this game.
Yeah.
They have a major influence in how these games are made. You see that in Dead Space 3, according to the developer, that EA wanted more action, wanted microtransactions. You see that in what would happen with Bungie in developing Destiny, where they had to roll back their actual story, and they then, according to, I remember reading back then, they got rid of most of the story that was interesting, like the Taken King, for example, was supposed to be in the original game. They were supposed to release a lot of this content ahead of time, but Activision said, no, we can roll it out more. And make people pay for it. I mean, that's business, I guess, but it's kind of shitty business, I think. Kind of messed up when the developer puts in all this work and they want to release this game, but the publisher, because they front the money and everything, they sort of have a huge influence in the creative direction that the developers want to go in. I don't know.
Well, I hope everybody's ready for this, but KOTOR 2 was actually a perfect example of this. Seriously,
come on,
because LucasArts wanted a holiday release, so they rushed the production of the game, and it forced Obsidian to remove many pieces of the story from the game, thus crippling it.
I just pictured. Do you remember that show? Do you know the meme with the crazy guy from Ancient Aliens? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember where he always says the meme where it's like aliens. That's gonna be you. I want to get a picture of you, but instead of aliens, it's just gonna be KOTOR 2. Oh, every time, Gary. Sorry, that cracked me up. I'm just gonna move on.
That was good. It was a great story. I linked it in perfectly.
Games with gold. There's games with gold for March. Peter Glowski over Destructoid writes this quote: "For Xbox users, you'll be able to get Evolve Ultimate Edition from March 16th to April 15th, and Layers of Fear from March 1st to March 31st. For 360 users, you'll get Borderlands 2 from March 1st to the 15th, and Heavy Weapon from the 16th to the 31st. Remember, those 360 titles are backwards compatible, so it's not totally lost if you're on Xbox One, which is a good thing with Xbox One backward compatibility. So if you have an Xbox One, you should check out Borderlands 2. I heard good things from Evolve when it came out. It got really pretty good scores. However, you needed people to play with, and that was the main issue that was happening with that game. Is not many people played. Maybe now that it's free, it'll get some people back into the game. I don't know. I just feel like games where it requires a cooperative experience or like people to play together, I feel like your best bet, I don't want to say free to play, but say that it is a AAA game, but we are going to bite the bullet and say this first month it should be free. Kind of like Rocket League or maybe like the first, I don't know. Because you saw from the beginning that Evolve was not going to work. I don't know. You just see that it requires friends to get together and play constantly to play this game because it requires cooperation between all 5 members of the team to take down, or 4 members of the team to take down this large, basically boss that is played by another character. So it doesn't work when you're by yourself because no one wants. It's hard to coordinate with people on the internet now. I mean, let's be real. The internet sucks sometimes. That is all I have to say because Gary's not saying anything. He's just staring at me like I'm a fucking idiot.
It's for Xbox One users. I do not have an Xbox One, but you do. You do. Yeah, that's right. Deal with it.
Yeah, another story. Just so you know, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is free on Steam this weekend, so check it out. That's all I wanted to say about that. I don't even need to read the article. We're 48 minutes in.
Can I just ask why that was included?
I don't know. I just want to give people a heads up on Steam. Hit it up to the, shout out to our PC Master Rates fellows out there that want to play the games on the Steams.
The PC's great, but Infinite Warfare?
I don't know. It was an article. Don't judge me, Gary. Fuck you. Moving on. I included this article because of you. Thank you very much. This one. A new type of speedrunning has surfaced in Club Penguin. The race to get banned. Atlee Willitham over at GameZone writes, Club Penguin is only a few weeks away from being shut down to the tears of Gary Sysol, unfortunately. For good. Shut down for good. But just like in Jurassic Park, quote, life finds a way, quote, or in this case, speedrunners find a way. Speedruns are often associated with players pushing their skill to the absolute maximum while trying to complete a game as fast as possible. Only a few speedrunners can ever become so good at a game that they are able to speedrun it in a competitive fashion. However, with Club Penguin speedruns, the objective is a bit different. It tests competitors to get banned as fast as possible. Yes, you read that right. Club Penguin speedrunners are competing in getting banned as fast as possible from a browser-based kid game. The speedrun called, quote, banned parentheses, end quote, takes place both inside and outside the game. It has competitors register for a new account, accept the verification email, fill out the CAPTCHAs, log in, and then write profanities in the chat to get auto-banned by the language filter. A true test of skill indeed. Though this might sound like a rather relaxed speedrun, it is in fact a rather serious one with a serious set of rules. Auto-fill in your URLs and names are not allowed. Neither are pre-existing emails allowed or using bookmarks. The whole idea of banned parentheses speedrun originated from the ban from Club Penguin, where some fascinating stories about the game are shared.
So, may I just interrupt here?
Right now, the world record is 39 seconds. Or 39, does that say 39? No. 39 seconds. 39.53 seconds.
First of all,
I saw that it was actually beaten in 30 seconds. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore, Gary. Go before you get pissy at me.
Well, no. Why is this happening? Like, this is what people think of now? Are we really this bored? I mean, granted, now, back in the day when I played this game religiously, my penguin was actually one ban. My main count was one ban away from being perma-banned.
Because Gary was a badass when he was 13 years old.
Well, let's be honest, though. This Club Penguin...
He dropped the F-bomb.
No, dude. This Club Penguin censor, like language censors, were like, if you said the word T, it was like, oh my God, ban. It was like ridiculous. So,
Dingleberry, ban.
I mean... A little different from me. I actually played the game and had things in that character that I wanted, so I wasn't trying to get banned. But now, all these years later, now people are doing speed runs. I don't know. Too much time on the hands, I think. Too much time.
I mean, let's be real. When it comes to wasting time, the internet's perfect for it. You say, like, this is what people have to do. I've seen Twitch streams that have a lot of followings. It's like, what was the one Twitch stream? It was like Fish Plays Street Fighter. It was two fish on stream, and they're swimming around, and wherever they swam to was based on what button was clicked or on the screen of Street Fighter, and two fish were fighting. I've also seen Twitch play Pokemon, where they would, whichever the way they wanted to do, they would spam which direction they would want to go, like in the chat, and the Pokemon, or they would play the game, and they would move left, or hit up, or hit A.
What?
And then they could...
Oh my God!
I know, it's nuts. And I think that in that game you could change what type of rule set it was for the chat to accept which way they're going to move. One was democracy, one was something else. Where democracy, it would, after a certain amount of like a minute or two, it would culminate all the votes, and whichever had the highest votes, it would actually hit that button or go in that direction. So, yeah. Talk about wasting time, it's all over the internet. Moving on, For Honor claims top spot in UK charts. The biggest new IP at number 1 since No Man's Sky. Sheriff Saeed over at Video Game 24/7. For Honor's launch week has been very successful, at least as far as the UK charts are concerned. Ubisoft may not reveal any For Honor sales, but in the UK, the game's performance is being compared to hits like The Division and No Man's Sky. According to GFK, For Honor topped the charts across all formats this past week. This makes it the biggest new IP launch at the same spot since No Man's Sky. 57% of sales were made on PS4, leaving 43% for Xbox One. Sniper 4 Elite which launched in the same week, came in a second spot. The unstoppable GTA 5 had to drop to number 3 despite a 7% increase in sales, which is fucking insane. The GTA 5 is still on the top of the charts. The full top 10 list is provided below, which is going to be number 1, For Honor, then Sniper Elite 4, GTA 5, FIFA 17, Battlefield 1, Resident Evil 7, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Rocket League, Forza Horizon 3, and Watch Dogs 2. Fucking GTA 5. That thing is still around.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm actually
they
also
hit
hearing
with GTA Online, not gonna lie. People love that.
I'm also hearing great things about Sniper Elite too. Like I'm getting like 8 out of 10s and stuff. I'm hearing people saying that the game's really good.
10 out of 10. Oh, you say? Oh, well, this is awkward. Yeah, moving on. Rogue Legacy dev announces co-op brawler RPG Full Metal Furies coming to Xbox One and PC later this year. Jeffrey Matlouf over at Eurogamer writes, Rogue Legacy developer seller Door Games has revealed its next title as an action RPG called Full Metal Furies. While the game will be available in up to 4-player co-op, a single player can play through the adventure with 2 characters whom they can swap between on the fly. The different characters aren't just cosmetic either, as each comes with its own unique build. For example, one is a brawler who focuses on melee attacks, while another is a sniper who fights more methodically from afar. You can see they have a trailer in their article, which we can't really speak how a trailer plays, but we can comment on it, but it wouldn't be fun for you. Full Metal Furies is due later this year on PC and Xbox One. It will be a play anywhere title, meaning those who buy it on Xbox One or Windows stores will get access to both the console and PC game with data transferable between the two. This is definitely a game I would like to get on Xbox One because I love Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy was a bomb. It's on PS4. If you don't have it yet, go get it. It's awesome. This game, I like the aesthetic. I like the action RPG style, like a brawler, but it seems like it can be pretty intense when it comes to battling these things called Titans, which are the bosses at the end. I don't know. What do you think about this game?
I like the different character classes, like all the different the tank and then the sniper and everything. The sniper looked pretty cool. I mean, that's just me. I like kind of playing more as a ranged character in a lot of games.
He's a camper, everybody.
No, more methodical and
camper.
Unforgiving. But that was the thing that really caught my eye was the class difference and like the brawlers, obviously like the close quarters guy, but you have the sniper too that can be effective as well. But yeah.
Awkward. Sorry. I apologize.
Oh no, I completed my thought, sir.
Oh, you did? I don't care. Moving on.
I didn't think you did. I never got that feeling you care.
Moving on to the Kickstarter shout out of the week, which we like to shout out some video games that are being funded on Kickstarter right now as we speak. And this game is called Ruin. It is I take quotes from the Kickstarter article. So, quote, battle it out against your friends in a top-down arcade-style arena brawler like you've never seen before. Build the ultimate over-the-top character from a ridiculous amount of abilities and outfits, and get ready to bring glory to your tribe as you slay your enemies, provided the arena doesn't kill them first. The core ingredient that makes the combat in Ruin a blast is the knockback mechanic. The vast majority of the abilities in the game knocks your opponents back, which might not sound like such a big deal until you realize that large parts of the arena in the game are filled with hazards that will kill you in a heartbeat if you're not careful. As if that wasn't enough, players that take a lot of hits in succession will be knocked back even further. As you might have understood by now, the arenas in Ruin are as much out to kill you as your opponents are. The environment is filled with traps and hazards that will catch you by surprise if you lose focus for even a moment. Furthermore, the arenas change in size and shape over the course of the match, meaning that the raging sandstorm far off in the distance that does not look like much of a threat right now might have trapped you in a corner after a few seconds if you are not careful. And it seems like the maps do shrink, get smaller when it gets to less people. I thought that was kind of fun looking. Seems like you can customize your character. They're trying to raise a goal of 11,000. They're at 9,000. Actually, they're at 9,924, and they're trying to get to 11,000, roughly 11,000. So they're almost there. They have 13 days to go. If you're interested, check out Ruin on Kickstarter. It's probably easy to find. I like the art style. I think it's a cool concept. Seems pretty straightforward. It could be a fun co-op game in the future. I don't know. Gary, what do you think about this game? What are you thinking?
I mean, you pretty much summed up a lot of what I had to say, but for anyone that's interested in actually funding the project, if you donate, I think 2,000 euros, you get dinner with the team.
Ooh, that's exciting. I think this is actually a Swedish developed game.
Well, you get a flight out to Sweden, and you get dinner with the team.
Oh, you get a flight out to Sweden? It's not like
well, I mean, I'm being an idiot, but yeah.
You can't claim that. You're going to fool some people.
But this game does look pretty sweet, though. As I've been saying with a lot of our games we've been actually talking about tonight, I like the customization factor, and the changing maps is really cool too. I think it would make the fights even more intense, especially like you said, as maybe less players are on the map and you're like going one-on-one with somebody, and the map's like the size of a phone booth. That'd be pretty cool.
So there's stretch goals right now. I can't really read I could read the amount, but I don't have like the conversion. It's like the Swedish amount. Right now, if they get to a certain point, their next goal is being released on Steam. The following goal after that is in-game titles, exclusive titles to backers. Then it'll be localization, so maybe they'll bring it to different areas of the world. And then the last goal they have featured here are a taunt feature, because everybody likes taunting their opponents and then getting their ass kicked because of it.
I know I like that. Well, actually, I know I like doing the ass kicking to the people doing the taunts. That's what I love.
Well, that has been it for the news this week. Gary, do you think we're missing anything? Did we miss anything?
Considering the amount of news stories we just had to get through, I don't think we missed a damn thing.
Yeah, you know what? If we did, keep yelling at us. Tweet us at 2JerseyKids to let us know. And, to really get back at us saying how stupid we are, hit that subscribe button. And then also go to the ratings on iTunes and give us 5 stars, because that would really help. It would really help. It would really help a lot. I really want you. Please go rate us. It would help out so much. God damn, I want people to rate us. We still only have 7 ratings. 7 5-star ratings, might I add. Maybe 2 are me, or me and Gary. But, that's neither here nor there.
That's classified.
That's classified information. You will be killed if you tell anybody else that. Just kidding, that's mean. Gary, what are you going to be up to this weekend?
Well, that is quite the mystery. It's actually going to be really nice out. Continuing with the weather theme I was mentioning earlier. It's going to be in the 70s this weekend.
Going to play some street hockey?
I don't know about that, but I just kind of want to be able to go outside and just get a beer out, get a cigar, and just sit out by the pool.
Oh,
that's what I want to do.
Cigars? Oh, you're so sophisticated, man.
Not sophisticated, but yeah. I want to actually enjoy the weather. I feel like every time I'm like, it's a nice day out, and I'm playing video games for the next 12 hours. It's okay. You're like, makes sense.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. So enjoy
this. Here, bring your TV outside. And then you can sit outside by the pool with your TV, your cigar, and your beer while you play video games. Perfect combination.
I'll stream outside.
Yeah,
there you
stream
go.
Outside.
But besides that though, same old video game shit. I kind of
pro shooter, bang bang.
I have been strangely enjoying Destiny lately. But
strangely, it's not like you put days worth of time into that game.
Well, what I mean is weapon wise, I feel like ever since the new patch, some weapons I've been waiting to actually use or waiting for them to actually be useful again are now useful, and it's kind of interesting. But unless my friends are playing that game, I don't know if I'm really going to get full time back into that game. So I'll probably end up playing a little bit of Battlefield 1 as well, and just mixing it in. But I'm really kind of just anxiously awaiting Horizon and single player experience, some sort of thing like that.
You should. Right now, there is a solid sale going on in the PSN store. A lot of the critical games of last year are on sale, and there's some pretty decent sales out there. If you get Overwatch, which is on sale, I don't know for what amount. If you get Overwatch, I would be happy to play with you.
You still trying to pitch this Overwatch to me after all this time?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, let's end this up. What are you doing here? What are you doing for the rest of the week?
I know my girlfriend's going off skiing, so I'm gonna have a free weekend. I may be playing some Neo. I gotta do some of my taxes, which is gonna be fun. Maybe doing a little updating my resume just for shits and gigs, then play some Neo. I don't know, some adult things. I really have a hankering. I really want to play wiffle ball for some fucking reason.
Ooh, yeah.
I have this feeling that I want to play wiffle ball, and I don't know anybody around me that plays wiffle ball, so it's going to be sad. I'm just going to sit out in the park and just have a wiffle ball and bat and throw it up and try to hit it. I'll just be that lonely guy.
Yeah, I kind of miss playing those games. Oh, God. I miss like when you can just get friends together at any moment in time. Like, hey, wiffle ball. Hey,
Yeah, 'cause
basketball.
everyone lives
Hey,
around the
football.
same area.
Man.
Good times. Good depressing times to think about now. Yeah. Adulting. Ha ha. Well, this has been episode 26. I have been a tiring host right now. I'm sure I've hurt all your ears. I apologize. But this has been Two Jersey Kids. Look forward to our Tuesday episode where we break into... Gary, have we decided on the topic of what we're doing on Tuesday?
I think you actually picked it out last night. You were saying that you wanted to go with games that everyone else loves that we hate. So that should be interesting.
It's going to be a juicy topic. I'm sure we're going to have some people raging at us.
I don't even know what the hell I'm going to choose yet. I have a game in mind. Weekend. I have a game in mind, but other than that, I'm going to have to really sit back and like look at a list of great games and just like go, I hate this game, and then talk about it.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait. So, this has been Two Jersey Kids. I know I've said that constantly now, but remember, we're Two Jersey Kids. You can find us on any podcast service app out there and give us a rating on that service app whenever you can. It would be helpful. But yeah, we love and appreciate all you continued listeners, new listeners. We're trying to keep growing, trying to get to 1,000 downloads this month, which would be fantastic. And it is in a day or a month where there's like 3 or 2 less days, which is unfortunate. But we will do it. We will persevere. We're about 150 away, so I think we can do it. But yeah, I have been Adam. You know, your fun host. You know, you love me all. I'm the best one here, the best of the two. Gary, you come in last place. Gary, what do you have to say before we go?
Well, I just said, that's very debatable. And second, again, love all you. Keep on downloading. We're going to get to 1,000 downloads. I am almost positive. And
almost positive.
Actually, I'm like 99.9% sure.
Confidence.
So really happy with that. That's awesome. I don't think we would have ever expected that starting out, back in August. But thanks a lot. And as always, I will see you on Tuesday, where we hope to piss a lot of people off.
Yep. This has been our half of a year episode, actually. Technically. Which is nuts. Nuts.
Insane.
Nuts. But yeah, we love you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. Keep playing those games. Can't wait for you guys to hear us on Tuesday. Bye.